Hello, everyone. Welcome to Elevating Your Life. Oh my goodness, it's going to elevate today. Our fantastic guest. Have been so excited waiting for this interview. We have with us today Stephanie James. She is a psychotherapist and transformation coach, dynamic public speaker, published author with nearly 30 years of experience in the mental health field. Nominated for Fort Collins Woman of the Year in 2014 and a graduate of Colorado State University and the University of Denver. Stephanie has an unrelenting commitment to help others achieve their best lives and to become the best version of themselves. She has a weekly radio show and podcast called Igniting the Spark with Stephanie James. She's a leader in a Random Act of Kindness women's group. She's a film producer, and she just has so much going on. I'm just so thrilled to have you with us today, Stephanie.
Thank you, Paula, so much. It's always such a joy to be with you.
Thank you so much. It is a happy day.
It is.
Well, I would love to begin if you want to share a little more of your background and kind of what brought you to where you're at. And then let's just dive in on all these books, these films, everything. I love it. I can't wait to hear.
Oh, it's so fun. Thank you, Paula. As we were talking a little bit before the show, as we both have these birthdays coming up, for me, life really ignited at 50. I have had now almost 7 years of it just feels like amazing miracles happening. And beginning with, one day I was sitting in my psychotherapy office, and I was literally just sitting there thinking about, gosh, how do I get back on radio? Because I'd been a guest on a radio show, a local radio show here in Colorado. And it was so much fun. And I just loved that feeling of connecting with people in that way. And I am not kidding you. It was not 3 minutes after I had this thought, there's a knock on the door. And this gentleman comes in and he said, "Hi, I work for the local radio station. And I was just wondering if you would be interested in having your own show." And he said, I almost came out of my seat. I mean, I was just like, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe the serendipity. So, so that's been over 6 years ago. We're now in our 7th season. It's been an incredible journey. And from there, getting the deep honor and privilege to meet so many, illuminated souls and people who are thought leaders and change makers like yourself, Paula, who I've had, the privilege of interviewing and then growing these deep and wonderful friendships with. And out of that, 2 books, and now the third one's coming. And my first film, which is been playing the last year on Plex Network on the More You channel. It's called When Sparks Ignite. And in December, it got picked up on Humanities Stream Plus, which is Neil Donald Walsh's and Steve Farrell's amazing, amazing network. So it's just been this joyful journey of continued expansion and unfolding.
Yes, yes. Well, first off, tell us about this film.
Well, thank you. Yes, I love this, Paula. It happened at a time so this is also about 6 years ago. And I had been divorced. And I think that's only important because I'm at the time that I was doing these meditations, I was doing these nightly meditations. And one of these evenings, I got this download after the meditation. And it was, oh my gosh, I know some of the most serving hearts and brilliant minds on the planet. I'm going to bring them together for this event and we're going to film it. And I say the part about being divorced because at that moment, I had 67 cents in my savings account. Like there was no way, like, how was I going to manifest this? But I knew it would happen. And I had befriended Jacob Lieberman. He and I had become very close friends, and he's a wonderful, his Illuminated Life book. I think I had him on the show at this point like 3 times. And a guest had gifted me a trip to Maui. So he lives in Maui. We got to spend time together, and he was really a cohort in creating the film. And so what was born out of this film was really this theme of the difficulties and challenges that we face can then become the match point that ignites something within us, that become our gift to the world. And so in its fruition, there were 12, myself included, people that were international thought leaders, George and Sedina Capinelli, who were television and film producers, Steve Behrman and his wife Trudy. Steve co-authored Spontaneous Evolution with Bruce Lipton. The great and amazing Larry Dossi and his wife Barbie, Solomon and Gabriella Masala. I'm gonna make sure I don't forget anybody, and Stephanie Schwartz, who is a research scientist who's who in America and who's who in the world. And these people really coming together in this message of consciousness and how each one of our individual healing matters. I mean, that's what's on the film poster. It says, your period healing period matters, period.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, so it was this special experience where not only do you get these behind the scenes interviews with people that have been thought leaders, but they're extremely candid, and the beautiful thing, Paula, too, is these people get paid tens of thousands of dollars to come speak. Everyone came for free. I mean, I paid for hotel and food, but they were like, we believe in this. We want to be a part of this. I had met Larry Dossi and his wife during dinner, and Larry beautifully at one point puts his hand on top of mine, and he says in his sweet, just slight accent, Stephanie, how can I refuse? And he just really felt like it was passing the torch, to our generation, which is bringing more of these messages to life. And so everyone came. So there's these behind the scenes interview. The second day of filming, we all sat around a round table, and we called it Lights of the Round Table. And we're talking about love and life and the long view and how you move through difficulty into expansion, and how each one of our contributions matter, and how they make a difference, and how it only takes 10% of any given community, whether it's a church or a school or a larger community. When 10% of that community changes, the whole rest of the cohort has to adjust.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting, because that's what this is. And the last part of the film is when it was brought to a live audience. And you see then how those sparks just ignited, and the presenters, instead of presenting and leaving the stage, stayed in the audience and held space and became a part of the experience. So it was just one of the most phenomenal experiences. And we're all still close friends to this day. We call each other the Sparks. And it's just been, just tremendous. And so, so that's the film that's out. And I've been working with the beautiful Anna Dara and Film Nest Studios. A year and a half ago, we filmed, we had 20 women, 10 international thought leaders, 3 days of profound transformation. And it was the Becoming Fierce event, which is my new book. And so that will be coming out on a series called Ignited, and Becoming Fierce is the first series. So that's kind of the film, the film news right now.
Yeah, so that's part of a series. I love it. I love it. Well, give us a little bit of teaser on what's in that. But I do have to throw out there what you mentioned about the film and them coming and doing that. That is such a great example of the power of an act of kindness, isn't it? Wow, that is amazing. Yes. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see that film.
Well, oh my gosh, thank you.
A little teaser on your newest book.
So so the Becoming Fierce book, I love it because it's really about how we can each become fuller expressions of our authentic selves. So, instead of becoming fierce, meaning anything aggressive, it's really that fiery, purposeful passion that is that spark, that essential nature within each one of us, that sometimes life or situations feels like it covers it up. but our work is to excavate it so we can share that with the world. And so this is really about that, being in touch with your fiery passion, what, how to purge in your life what doesn't serve, how to really get in touch with your relationship with power, what it is and what it isn't. Also the power of surrender. And when we allow that divine, light to come through and surrender to things not having to be our way, but to a higher purpose, that's where these miracles happen.
And that spark, that fire, that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to ignite, our own individual beautiful fire.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the important part too, Paula, is that it's not just in some of us, it's in all of us. It's one of these things that oftentimes we forget or we get distracted. We have so much distraction in our lives, but it is us. It's the essential us. And it's what connects all of us together, that none of us are separate. We're all these golden threads in the tapestry of humanity, each essential pieces of the whole.
Yes. And would you say when we light our spark and we shine that light on others, we're helping ignite the spark for them as well? I mean, it's going to grow, won't it?
Yes. I mean, that's the beautiful thing, right? It's contagious.
Yeah.
And that's why each person's own work is so essential. And it's not selfish. I speak in the book about the really important piece of becoming your own best friend. And not just like, I'm my own best friend, I just love myself. It's truly about how do we cultivate a relationship with us? So we make ourselves priority in our lives, not out of selfishness, but truly so that we're gifting ourselves in ways that we can excavate that light. So exactly what you're saying, Paula, so we can better shine it on others, that we can serve better when we take care of this heart, this soul. And then that is then what ignites it in other people. And as we raise our vibration, our happiness, and spread that kindness, we're giving other people permission to do the same.
Yes, yes. And that can spread a light around the world, I believe.
I do too.
And it starts with ourselves and our own light and lighting that spark. Oh, what you have shared is just a beautiful, beautiful thing for all of us to think about, Stephanie. Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. So that book, Fierce, that's going to be the beginning of a series. So is the next book going to be along that line or open up something new?
Well, it's something new. So Becoming Fierce is a series, and the book came first, and then the name of the series came afterwards. Actually, this new book that I'm almost done with, Paula, is another one of these miracles. And I was interviewing Neil Donald Walsh on my show, and we could not get to the interview. We just had this amazing heart-to-heart connection before the camera started rolling. And as we were talking, at one point, he just turned to me and said, "You're going to write a new book, and you're going to start tomorrow. And here's the title of the book." And, and I possibly am writing the foreword to this book. And so I started, that was 1 month ago. I'm about 42,000 words in as of today. And this book is just a little over 47,000. So you can see, I mean, it's just very, very quickly. And what interestingly, Paula, this book actually is about death and befriending death and knowing that death is not the end.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's got my own personal journey, but also the journey of phenomenal people that I've been in contact with. Some of them are ordinary people, I say, just like me. And then there's people in there that, are renowned. Like Mark Nepo, Neil Donald Walsh, Steve Farrell, Ariel Ford, Wayne Dyer's daughter, Sage Dyer, and his wife, Marceline. I know I'm missing some people, but so there's some of our wisdom keepers are threaded in there as well, but it's also about how do we befriend death? How do we grow through grief?
Mhm.
And how do we let go of the fear of it all? Because when we do that, we are really tapped into this essential beingness where it makes living more full and more vibrant and definitely more sacred.
Yes, when we can let go of that fear and realize death is not the end and let go of that fear, it's like we rise to a new level of vision and perspective. It's, that's life-changing.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, it comes as like this divine download, this like divine direction coming through Neil. And oh yeah. So and one of the beautiful people I've been connected with that's going to be a part of this book, because I said it's almost done. I literally have one interview left, and that's going to be with Stephen Simon, who was the producer of What Dreams May Come and some really beautiful films. And such an incredible man. We've already met and we're meeting again this next week for the interview for the book. And his wife passed 6 years ago, and since that time, they literally have co-authored a book together called What Dreams Have Come.
Oh,
And so his journey with her is just absolutely stunning. And so such a beautiful and important part of the book that we can start having these conversations, Paula, and not be afraid that actually these are all very common experiences. And they help inform us that we are that eternal soul. We do have that divine spark within each one of us. And
yes.
that spark continues on.
That is so true. And isn't it just an amazing, gift and blessing for us to meet these people, meet the people we interview, meet the people that you do films with and all that. So we have that beautiful experience and blessing of meeting them, and then the beautiful experience of sharing them with our amazing audience out there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, wow, ah,
Well, and that's what it's all about, right? It's like every single person has a story to share.
yes,
Every single person holds wisdom inside of them. And so it's the sharing of these stories that becomes essential. That's why, as I said, my own stories in this book, some of my good friends, that aren't quote unquote famous, and yet their messages in the book are profound as all of our experiences.
yeah,
We all have these essential experiences. And so I just think it is these conversations like we're having right now, they're just so essential, especially during these times.
and it's so wonderful to know that all of us, we have our experiences. We all have that spark within us. And, coming together and supporting each other and caring, that just makes it grow and expand, and the possibilities is endless of what can be manifested.
Oh my gosh, 100%. And I have to say too, I think what's important in my books and in my films too is embracing it all, Paula. It's not just everything, part of this human experience that we signed up for, we experience it in polarities. So yes, it's the sorrow, it's the grief, it's the fear, and it's also the excitement, the joy, and the love. And so how to hold ourselves and each other in this beautiful experience that we don't have to label as good or bad, but we can hold as just this essential sacredness that life is, and experience that spark that we are, that goes beyond the drama or the play of our lives.
You're right. It goes beyond that. It goes beyond that.
Mm.
I have to mention something in the Spark, Igniting Your Best Life book. The funnest thing in there was, and I just love it, and I've been doing it, is you mentioned find a picture of yourself between birth and 5 or 6 years old, and look at that, and then just, tell everyone about a little bit about that. I just think that is so awesome.
Well, I have it as well, like right in my room. So, you know, you can have it at your desk, or you can, you know, I have it on my altar in our meditation room. I think it's so important that we remind ourselves, you know, hopefully at some point, even when people have what they consider bad childhood, there's moments of joy, or there's moments where someone maybe caught an image of you when you were in that essence, you know, before we got culturally conditioned, or before we felt like, oh, can't be too wild, can't be too loud, can't, you know, what Don Miguel Ruiz calls, you know, we become domesticated. So it's that essential spark that's us just shining through in these pictures. And it's the reminder to us that when we have that on our desk, or when I see that in the other room, it's like, oh my gosh, she's right here, she's inside. And
Yeah,
that is me. You know, to me, that's the journey. We go out into our lives, and it's coming back to that essential essence that we were born with,
yes,
that is us.
yes.
Again, beyond cultural conditioning, beyond beliefs, you know, that we've just been habitually saying over and over to ourselves, and knowing, you know, our thoughts aren't true, they're not the definition of us. Our behaviors aren't even the definition of us. It goes beyond, again, to that spark.
Right.
And
They're just
that's
out
what the
here.
picture, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So that's what the picture represents. It's that reminder. It's like a little alarm clock to say, hey, remember to
Yeah,
wake up to the knowingness that
yeah.
you are more than your life situation. You're more than your thoughts. You're more than conditioned responses. You are that spark, and you can see it in those pictures.
Oh, I just love that. Oh, that is so, so amazing, and just such a beautiful idea and to the point. Oh my gosh. Stephanie,
Oh, thank you.
thank you for your wisdom and all your sharing. Oh my gosh. What inspired you to, you know, take the steps and do all that you've accomplished and where you're at today? What age were you when you first realized, I want to help others, I want to show kindness, I want to, tell us a little
Mm.
bit about that.
Okay, well, two things. I would say I was born like absolutely that little spark. I didn't even understand that everyone didn't love me because I loved everyone. You know, I did not comprehend that. And I just was having a love affair with life and nature. And so that was an innate part of who I was. Now, I will tell you, Paula, I lost that. I would say, or I was not as in touch with that after a very, very bloody divorce by my parents. And at 16 years old, you know, being told from my father that he was no longer speaking to me for a year, um, and really some devastation that I went through in my life with my father, where there was probably 15 years in there where I was like, what is wrong with me? I must not be very lovable if my own father has, you know, rejected me. Without getting into that whole story, it literally had to do with the wife that he left my mother for, who said, you know, you may no longer speak to your father alone. You may no longer spend time with your father alone. And until the day he died, I wasn't allowed to speak to him alone on the phone. And so again, out of some of our greatest pain becomes the greatest gifts,
Yes.
because I was at a beautiful healing school in California, in San Francisco. And the presenter, who I had shooken his hand when I walked in, and he kind of held my hand. You'll see this in the film. I speak about this. He held my hand like a little too long, where you're going like, oh my gosh, this guy is looking into my soul. And um, he gets up there and he starts presenting on stage. And about a fourth of the way through, he stops and he looks into the audience and he says, hey, you in the blue coat, I have a message for you. And I'm looking around and I'm looking around. I go, oh, crud, I'm the one in the blue coat. And he went to tell me the message, and I couldn't hear him. And he said it, he kept saying it. He said it like two more times, and I couldn't hear him. And at one point, he says, my dear, you have such a resistance to this message. And he goes to say it again, and all the air conditioning units in the place came on at once, and nobody could hear him. So
Oh,
people are just laughing. They're like, oh my gosh. And he goes, okay, come up here. So I came up by the stage. I sat on these steps by the stage. And he said, my dear, what is so hard for you to hear right now is stop trying.
oh
Stop
my
trying.
gosh.
You've been trying your whole life, he said, to be perfect for your father, and now you're doing it for your husband.
Oh,
Stop trying. And it was like in that moment, Paula, everything opened up to me. I was like, oh my gosh, all the love, all the acceptance, everything that I'd been trying to earn
yes,
outside of me
yes.
by being the good daughter or getting the good grades, or if I only looked good enough, or I only had the right house, or whatever it was, that it actually was an inside job, and it changed my life. And it really set me on that healing journey. I mean, I already had gone to school, but I'd already gone to graduate school, but it definitely, I knew I was going to always work with people, but it took it to a different
That's
level because
amazing.
I
Oh
found
my
that
gosh.
love and healing inside of me and was able to better offer that to others.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's an amazing story. Oh, Stephanie. Well, we have about 1 minute left in the show. Honey, please share your website, any information you want to give, and what last message you want to share with everyone. Oh,
Oh, thank you, Paula. Thank you so much. So my website is stephaniejames.world. So stephaniejames.world. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm happy to chat with anyone in your audience. I love responding to emails. That's so fun for me. And I would have to say that my books are available at Amazon or Barnes and Noble, wherever you get your books. And the film is on Plex Network on the More You channel, or now on Humanities Team. So if you go to humanitiesteam.org, you will find the film there.
and please
And
remind us the
yeah,
name of the film and
the
what
film
is,
is When Sparks Ignite.
okay, thank you.
When Sparks Ignite.
Oh,
Yeah.
Stephanie, this has been so fantastic.
Thank you, Paul. It's just such a joy to be with you and be a part of your light. You shine so brightly, and so it's so wonderful. And that would be my message to others. Please allow your own light to shine, because your stories, your message, and your healing truly, truly matter.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie. You are just a precious gift, and thank you for your spark and your light and your kindness. Everybody out there, thank you for joining us, and thank you for your kindness and spark and the light you have within you. We are just all just shining today. Love, hugs, and blessings to everybody. Thank you so much.